back, viewers, to another video. Today we're in the shop again, getting ready for HotPit AutoFest. If you watched my last video, you saw that the Chaser met its demise. Not the whole car, it already met its demise once, and then now it's back, and now the engine blew up, so that was really depressing. If you haven't seen that video, just go to the last video. I don't know how to link the thing up here, whatever. Maybe my wife will do that for me, but I don't know how to do it. Anyways, today we're in the shop working on the S13 for HotPit. I say work on the S13, but we're actually working on the pickup truck that needs to be ready to go across state lines to transport the car there. That's a whole nother story, but basically we're trying to do injectors and delivery valves on the 24th. I'll take you over there and show you what's going on. Okay, if we're talking about it, let's just talk about it. So we've got the I bought this fancy snap-on tool to take the delivery valves out. And you say, why'd you buy the snap-on one? You can get that on Amazon or from Diesel Auto Power for cheap. Well, the snap-on one was actually the same price, and the guy brought it to me. Shout out to Alex Strand. He brought it to me on his day off, so super cool. And then this is the timing tool from Snap-on Blue Point. Their gauge was pretty expensive, so I'm using a Chinese gauge with some tape around it because, you know, Wicknick wouldn't do it any other way. That is to set the timing inside the plunger, delivery valve, whatever. Anyways, I've been told by Cutter Up Rob, Diesel Guru. He was actually kind enough to give me a phone call the other day and talk me through what to check on this. He thinks that I need bigger delivery valves, and I need to get the pop pressure tested on my injectors and make sure the injectors are flowing properly to ensure that the truck gets enough fuel. Right now, you go full throttle, it hits 18 pounds of boost, it doesn't smoke black, and it won't even get out of its own way. And so we have 50 pounds of pressure to the inlet of the P-pump. The filters aren't plugged, nothing like that. So basically, if we have pressure to the P-pump and we can't get enough fuel flow to smoke out the highway, then there is a problem in the P-pump to the injectors or the injectors themselves, something fuel flow related in that area. And so that's what we're looking at next. But I should make a whole other video about that because there's a lot more to it, but that's essentially where we're at. So hopefully that fixes it. Today's a holiday in Utah, so tomorrow I'm going to take the injectors down to an injector shop. I'm going to order delivery valves, get those installed. But that's where we're at on the Fummins. I really hope that fixes it, because this truck, as much as I love it, it is impossible to drive right now, and it's going to be terrible driving to California. So if you guys have watched the channel before, you realize I'm always working last minute to prep things to get ready for events, and that is the case in this one. Not necessarily for any reason other than we've been busy, had a lot going on. We did a drift event last weekend, and then the next weekend we're doing one. So Chaser blew up last weekend. This next weekend we're going to HotPit, and the car needs a little bit, not a lot. We got the quick change swapped out. If you guys didn't see that video, this is what's left of the Winters. That's the other P-pump for the truck. It actually shattered in half, and they've been having a problem with their castings. They're taking care of it 100%. They're going to ship it out, but we didn't get it in time. So I took the Winters that was supposed to be for the Chaser out of that subframe, and we swapped it into this car, and so it has a differential. We put the proper gears in it, and that stuff is all ready to go. But what I was going to say, if you followed my videos, you've definitely seen last minute my buddy Tyler and his girlfriend Amanda come help us out. And so Tyler's here helping out, getting things ready. And we actually had a surprise party for Tyler the other day in the shop. And one of his friends drove out from Iowa to visit. And so he's offered to help out. In fact, let's do a quick walk around on his car. He brought from Iowa a Volkswagen Beetle that has, I haven't even seen it off the lift, has a auxiliary fuel tank to get a extended range. Oh man, this is right up my alley here. This is exactly something I would do. The transfer pump, transferring into the gas cap. This is awesome. This is a turbo diesel Volkswagen. I was trying to convince him to run it on used motor oil, but I guess, you what? Oh, we're gonna do it? Put it in there. I love this thing. But the best part about this is that he drove it here getting 40 plus miles per gallon. And I think only stopped once for fuel because of the extended capacity, so that's super cool. If I didn't need a truck to tow stuff with, I would definitely get a TDI Volkswagen and be doing basically this exact same thing, running on used motor oil. But I digress. Let's check out what we got going on for the car. So my side skirt broke at the last event. I got ran into by Pablo. Thanks, Pablo, for smashing my car. It was a good battle. I had a lot of fun battles. We all hit each other as part of the game. And the bumper also broke. So we are going to be doing some fiberglass work. We are swapping the water pump on the car because I got the Mézières water pump. I can't remember how Jose says it. Mézières, like a French water pump. We got that going on, and the fittings were different and the configuration is different. So I took one of the old fittings that looked like this. Since that's not going to work anymore, I cut up the other one, which now looks like this. It's always nice having a TIG welder on hand. You can go ahead and put that on your You Suck at Welding pages. That'll be great. And then that's going to fit in here. Oh dang, Tyler already got it out. Okay, so we're gonna mount the pump sideways, point one this way, point one the other way, and hopefully it all works out. It's literally just 12 volts. The car's already wired for it. It should be really easy. After the other water pump failed, what we did is we used a BMW electric pump, and I scabbed it in there. Oh, got it. We scabbed it in there, and it worked kind of, but it sounds absolutely horrendous, like it's gonna break. And so I didn't want to trust another event with that pump. I mean, it might have worked, but I'm not trying. We're third in points right now. I really want to win this series, so we're doing everything we can to be on the winning side of things. So we're gonna put in the expensive fancy pump and hopefully never have to look at it again. My last pump lasted me 7 years with mistreatment and abuse, and so this one should last me another 7 years, I hope. At least for what I paid for it, it better last that long. Aside from that, I think the car's pretty much ready to go. I mean, the fact that we're glassing skirts and bumpers together tells you that mechanically we're pretty well set with this car. One thing I haven't done yet, I was gonna upgrade the fuel system and move the fuel tank so we can do the quick change stuff with the gears, but the differential is pretty much still touching the gas tank, so I haven't fixed that yet. That's gonna be a lot of work. I actually ordered the 2F Performance. I'm just rambling here, jibber jabber, as Taylor Ray would say. Ordered the 2F Performance 2 LFC panels. They haven't arrived yet, but eventually I'm going to cut the whole rear of this car apart, because in the past we actually did cut along here. You can see I welded that back together, and I cut up another coupe and put it back together. This was years and years ago, so it's still got all the metal back here after being crushed a couple times. But now with the LFC panels, we'll be able to do it in such a way that we can just repair fiberglass instead of trying to straighten out metal. But I've got a whole bunch of Deechworks parts. Deechworks came on board in the middle of this season to help us out, and I haven't been able to do all the upgrades that we got, but we got a whole ton of Deechworks cool parts that I'm gonna put on this car and make it sick. But I'm done jibber jabbering. Let's get to work. Too short. Middle of summer. So what I'm doing here is I'm putting goop. I use goop for everything. Tyler even asked me, he's like, "Do you just literally use silicone for everything?" Yes. It's not any different RTC. Yeah, I mean, like, pipe thread or pipe dope, pipe tape would be the right thing here, but like, nah, this stuff's as good as glue. Glue everything together. But this is what I put on the last pump. Didn't take it apart or look at it or even touch it for 7 years, and it held up. So I'm sticking with that. Let's see if we can crank this in now. When I welded this, I had no idea the position. I figured we'd just be able to crank it into place. So we want to go. We're just like this. We want to point that way, right? Yeah. Okay. Good luck.
Thanks. Might need it. Hope you got some muscles holding. Oh, almost there.
I think that'll do it, huh?
So, flex that carbon.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it flows. Oh yeah, we're good. We're good to go.
How'd that taste?
Tastes like made in Escondido, California.
I don't know if that's better.
Alright, fiberglass work. Are you stepping out of the way?
Whatever.
Yeah. This is, hi, my name is.
Hi, my name is.
What?
Kyle.
Kyle. Kyle's doing some really good work here. I'm actually I'm super stoked on all this. This the one.
It's all relative.
Yeah, like did made a fiberglass, or I mean a cardboard mold there. Some CAD, some cardboard aided drafting design. So it should fill this corner really well and rebuild this stuff. It's some nice work here. So really, like, you know, when it comes to drifting, you just want the thing to last and to go back on the car. And this is I think one step above that, I will say. should turn out really good. I don't really want to do any paint work on this car since, you know, it was kind of a custom spray painted deal. So I think with the way we're patching everything back together, it'll look decent enough. And Kyle was like, hey, anything else since we're mixing up fiberglass? And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot my black chaser side skirt when we were leaving the chicken shop. I ran into the curb because Kelly's like, no, you're good. And then I ran into it, and that was the end of that.
Weird how it's always somebody else's
Oh, yeah,
fault.
never my fault. Yeah. Thanks for pointing that out.
That is
It's not,
amazing.
yeah. That was, I'm sure Kelly did that too afterwards somehow. What were we pointing at?
Always Kelly. So there's another bumper over there that's like in half. Outside.
No, the rest of that was the chaser. I didn't even put that on the video. The chaser bumper. That's okay. If we're talking about it, let's go talk about it. I appreciate your concern on behalf of that bumper, but it is that is all that's left of it. The rest of it's scattered all over the parking lot of UMC. Unfortunately, the chaser bumper met its demise, went under the front of my car, and then there was literally just chunks left on that side. So that's sad, but I did go back and get the fog light. Didn't want to lose that. I lost the other one on Drift Week somehow, so at least I got one fog light. But I do have two other brand new body kits for JZXs. So the chaser, the green chaser will get one, and my street car will get one. I think one's a BN kit. The other one is Vertex or something. They're both pretty cool. But that's why I'm not super concerned with all the stuff that's getting broken on these cars. It's sad, but one of the main reasons I went with a JZX 100 Chaser as opposed to like the JZX 90 not Mark II, the Chaser or the Cresta is because it's much easier to get parts, body kit parts in the States for the JZX 100. Thanks to Modelo Drive, they have a hood, body kits, fenders, the wide body kit, all for relatively inexpensive. And that's how I got that wide body kit for that other car. So that's the reason the Chaser stuff is affordable, and I'm not too worried about breaking stuff because it is replaceable. It's not overnight parts from Japan. All right, guys, we're back another day getting ready for HotPit AutoFest. We're leaving tomorrow morning super early. It is after work hours now. Jake's here burning the midnight oil. Not quite yet, but we're doing an oil change. After the last event, we got set up with renewable lubricants. And we got some oil for the car and the quick change and the dog box. And so we are doing a full oil change on everything to get everything freshened up and changed out to this stuff. So we'll see how it works. They're saying that our temps will be lower and it should help with a lot of stuff. So, higher oil pressure under temperature and stuff like that. So I'm excited for that. This car needs a good service too, good oil change. It's really nice because everything's pretty easy to work on this car. And we haven't really needed much to do with it. What are you working on?
Just nut and bolt checking everything.
Did you find the bolt for the trans?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
A bolt here and an extra one for the parts.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Just in case.
Yeah, that one fell out at one of the events. And it's really hard to find a socket cap 1/2 inch 13?
Yep, 1/2 inch 13.
1/2 inch 13 dog box bolt. All the other ones we have are just regular hex head, but that one not. So now we have that one and a spare one, and so we should be good to go for that. We got the body kit that's been glassed back together. The quick change is in place and everything's tightened on that. We haven't really run it since then. And we could do a little bit of straightening and zip tying on the taillight stuff, but overall I think we're pretty dang ready to go. And fortunately, Josh Hadlock is letting us borrow his enclosed trailer, so that's going to make things a lot nicer. We're going to take a generator and a couple of AC units so we can keep it cool inside of there. Stuff's pretty dirty.
Yeah.
This can go directly into the fuel tank on the truck. Dang, Toyota OEM. This is the big filter. This is what you want to use if you have a 2J. There's the part number. You're welcome. We use the filter still in the OEM location. Simplicity. I do remove the like the OEM cooler block, and then we run like a sandwich plate, which is also where we get our oil feed supply on this NA block for the turbo side. And then this car has an AccuSump right there, and then a bunch of oil lines, and it has 2 big oil coolers up there with fans on them. It's a cool setup oil wise. I think that's why it hasn't blown up since we did the AccuSump. This one also has the Tomei oil baffle inside the pan. I think if my chaser had that, we'd probably still be in business. So we did end up with a new water pump in here, which was the big problem we had at the end of last round. This is a Mézières, made in USA, French water pump. It obviously does not fit inside the box there. That was about as good as I could get it with what we had, and then Jake built a bracket for it to sit there, so it's pretty solid. I'm gonna enjoy that. I actually brought a piece of silicone coupler cut up. I can put it between there, zip tied to the cage. But I'm gonna try and trim the top piece that we have to shield the water hoses and just trim it around that pump. See if that'll work. And then gonna put this front seat back in, and then we're pretty much ready. Time for the good stuff in this good motor. What are you doing, Jesse?
Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
So we're supposed to be leaving now, and the water pump's not working. The power turns on to the water pump, and there's water in the system, and it's hooked up how it's supposed to be, and for some reason it's not working. So, I don't know. I don't know exactly what's going on with it. I wonder if it's unless the way it's routed is pumping backwards and pulling air instead of water.
Unless, I mean, maybe if the polarity's backwards, then it just agitates nothing because of the way the pump's designed.
Oh, right. The blades are backwards.
It's not like a fan blade.
Yeah. Like trying to fly a propeller airplane in reverse.
So I guess we should try.
So why is this pump that's really expensive having problems, and that other junk pump from a BMW worked? And well, it makes me wonder if I did something wrong, if my flow's wrong, or if like maybe we have to have both of those outlets. That doesn't make sense though. How hard is it to get the pump off? We could stick it in a bucket of water and see if it moves, you know? Go back to fluid dynamics 101.
Like a pilgrim.
Do you have to, Jesse?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so now I'm getting really frustrated. Jake's getting frustrated too, which is never a good sign. Jake's a pretty patient guy, but when Jake is frustrated. This pump, well, let's show him before we take it apart real quick. Okay. Basically, we filled up the sink with water and we're doing some pump testing. This thing should be shooting water across the shop, like at 35 gallons per minute. This is my janky inlet, that's my janky outlet. As soon as we get this submerged in water, it should suck up water and start going. We even tilted it sideways to get it in there to bleed the air out. It started moving a little bit of water, but it's not good. So we're wondering if this fitting here, for some reason, needs to have flow or something. It doesn't make sense. Let's do our science experiment here. Power probe.
Oh.
Doesn't sound very strong. Submerged. Nothing. But if we try and get some air out of it, so I got it at a weird angle there. It's still not. Even with that, with no air in it, that's not pumping enough water. That's not going to do it. So we don't really know why it's not working. Well, it should be way better than that. I don't understand it. We don't have another pump besides that stupid BMW one, which is the backup, which would work if we want to, but I don't trust it. Maybe we can find a pump. Maybe we can have one shipped from Summit. I don't know. It's just problems. So we're gonna pull this out right now and see if that changes anything. See if it flows any differently, like if it's trapping air, because it's got a single inlet and dual outlet for like a Chevy something or other. That's a good workbench. You know what would work really good is just a stock water pump. That's what you're thinking, huh, Jake? Messing with this electric crap. The thing is, I had that CSR pump, which was half the price of this, for years without any issues. And now that I get a Mezzier pump, issues. So it still won't suck water up through that thing. I feel like it should be able to suck through that.
This way. Switching polarity.
Okay. There's just an air pocket trapped in there. I've got all 3 of them submerged, and it's not doing anything. Okay, should I switching polarity back the regular way? Like, clearly it wants to bleed. Like, once you start getting the water out of it. Whoa!
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what we need. Okay, so what's going on here? How did we get it to bleed like that? That's some serious flow. I got this one plugged. If I let up, it flows a little bit less. Plug it up. That's a ton of flow. That's more than enough flow. We got to be able to get it to do that somehow in the car.
All right. So apparently this pump wants to have flow, at least momentarily, from both ports. Without it, it just keeps like cavitating. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this plug that we had for this port. I'm going to drill a hole in it. We're going to tap it with a 8th NPT plug. So we can install this in there, open it, bleed it, then put it back in. And then
Once it starts, boom. Because you can hear it. When it goes, it goes.
Once it starts pumping, it should be good to go. So,
It should be Old Faithful up on the front.
I mean, maybe we'll have to put a little hose extension on it, kind of like that other bleeder
Yeah.
that we have.
We might be able to put it to another hose and have it permanent self-bleed
Yeah, or
if we can
like-
figure it out.
Just circle back to that one.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
All right. Well, we're pushing 11 p.m. We got to leave super early in the morning, so this is how it always goes. All right, let's get to work. This is our testing station. You got the power probe, you got the jump box. You can't go wrong with the power probe.
It's too bad they don't have a power probe jump box.
A self-powered power probe with like a battery, that would
for,
be
like testing stuff.
Yep. That would be brilliant.
Yeah.
Be
Power
brilliant.
Probe USA.
They should be on our team.
All right. The pump is back in the car. What we ended up doing, just like we said, we drilled a hole in this plug that's up here on this upper side and installed an 8th MBT nipple. We connected a hose onto it and ran it up to this port that we already had on the pipe so that the water had a pathway to follow so the air wouldn't just be trapped up in this top corner. So now, with the way it's hooked up, the pump is pumping like a maniac, so we're good.
So we pulled the car out of the shop to get ready to load it up in the trailer, and it started dripping out of here because I was messing with this cap earlier. It kind of got stuck and I was like, oh, I'll leave that alone. Well, leaving it alone wasn't enough because it started leaking out of the top. Now we can't loosen it or tighten it. Jake tried to pull it off and it basically stopped spinning, and it's got a leak because there's an O-ring under there. So the fact that it's stuck on there now has got me thinking our only option might be to cut it flush and weld just a aluminum cap to the top. And it's 1 a.m. now, so this really sucks. But that's where we're at. It won't go on and it won't come off. We tried tightening it and it still was leaking. We tried loosening it, still was leaking, and then it just stopped spinning altogether. So that really sucks. It's on the right track. This may not be the best blade we have.
wood cutting blade if we have one.
If we have one. That's all we've got. Max built, speed cut. Let's get it done.
Ready?
Yep. We've learned from cutting a bunch of bell housings or aluminum bell housings that wood blades seem to work the best. I don't understand it, but it really does. They don't get gummed up. The teeth are so big you don't get aluminum stuck in there. It just works. And we always have extra wood blades because we literally never use them for anything except for this. Okay, I need to not damage the windshield wiper motor there. Now what? Now there's an O-ring in there, so I can't weld it. At least we're getting somewhere, right?
Camera in and out now.
I might just be able to build a giant weld on that. Now that I messed it all up. I found another problematic piece. We'll just weld this on there so this, in a few years, we'll have the exact same problem. And we'll just keep building it higher and higher until we have to cut a hole in the hood for it. But I'm just gonna have to weld to it. So I'm gonna clean this up as best I can. Make it so I can get the best weld I can get with this dirty aluminum. As long as it doesn't leak, we'll be good. It's already warm too, so like it's gonna be easier to weld. It's about as good as we could do. I'm impressed how well it welded because it was like rusty junk metal. Not rusty, but like it had junk on it. Does it cool down? And I happen to have this. This is actually the exact same thing as this.
Matching.
I welded to the valve cover, and I had an extra one of these. I've had it for years and years and years. And I was thinking, I was like, wait a minute. At first, I thought the cap might have been the same. Like maybe I used this to make this, but it wasn't. But it's like once we cut it off, this will go back on. It's also got an O-ring. What's it been like? 20 minutes since it happened, and it's fixed.
Yeah.
That's what's nice about having equipment. I'm not the best at TIG welding, but we have the equipment. There's nobody else we could have found to do it. There's nobody else we could have found to do that at this hour in 20 minutes. Like, there's just no chance. So that's awesome. 135. Let's put this in the trailer and get out of here. Maybe instead of leaving at 6 a.m., we'll leave at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Also, equipment. Wood Sawzall blade. You gotta keep that on hand. Gotta have the Sawzall. Sawzall. So we got the Cummins truck. Well, I worked on it quite a bit last week and the week before, and I've been scratching my head trying to figure out what the heck's wrong with this thing. But like I keep saying, that's for a whole nother video. Suffice it to say, it doesn't make very much boost. I don't think it's getting enough fuel, but the EGTs are super high. So climbing hills is just, there's no power and high EGTs. So basically I have to drive, my throttle position is all relative to the EGT so I don't get it too hot, which is what made the last motor melt the pistons and start knocking and stuff. So I'm trying really hard not to do that to this new motor. But I kind of want to show you like what I have to do to get through this. We have a little bit of a headwind. We're going 45 25 miles an hour up a very, very slight grade. And on one of my last trips, I wired in the sprayers, which were for the radiator of the chaser. I took it off the chaser, did a temporary mount on the floor here of the truck, and then hooked it up to the auxiliary switch number 1. It runs through the firewall, up pre-turbo, past the filter, and just sprays directly on, like, into the intake pipe of the turbo. So then it goes through the turbo, through the intercooler, and then up into the engine. And I just literally flood it with water to keep the EGTs down when I'm pulling a hill. So it's kind of just a balance of like trying to climb the hill and then spraying water. And as I spray water, you can hear the turbo kind of loses boost a little bit. It goes from, let's say, 20 down to like 15. And then when I shut it off, it starts to build boost again, pushing the water through there. So it must be drowning that turbo with water for a second, or it's just hitting the blades and causing it to slow down. But either way, I don't care about the turbo. I care way more about the motor not getting destroyed. So this is my temporary water injection setup. And it doesn't help us go any faster, but I'm pretty sure it keeps the engine from blowing up. The other problem we have is the cruise control kind of works, but it won't hold the throttle down as much as it needs to go to keep this truck going the speed we need it to go. So I'm literally just trading legs back and forth, left foot, right foot, because my legs are getting worn out, and we're not even a third of the way through this trip yet. It's gonna be a long night, for sure. But anyways, we're on our way to HotPit in California. Apparently I had a misunderstanding with Terry, who's the team manager. I thought he couldn't come with us on this trip, so I planned everything around him not being here with us. And then he calls me this morning like, hey, we ready to go? And I'm like, Terry, you told me you can't go. He's like, no, I told you I can't go to the next round. And I'm like, why did you tell me that before this round? Because now I'm confused. He said round 4. I'm like, I don't know what round it is. It's the next round. He wouldn't be calling me to tell me about the round after this round. So anyways, that's all mixed up. I made all these plans without Terry because I thought he wasn't coming. So then we didn't have room in the car. So now he's like, well, I'm just going to get in my car and drive in the morning. Tomorrow morning. I'm not paying attention. The truck's starting to get hot. And so anyways, we got that going on. Drop the gear. Also the transmission gets hot because we don't have a torque converter clutch, so it won't lock into gear. So the torque converter is sitting there superheating the fluid, trying to pull these hills, and then it even less power and more problems, and it's just not, this truck is not good right now. It's really frustrating because I spent so much time trying to make it good and a lot of money trying to fix it and make it good, and it's still not there yet. And you might be thinking, wow, why don't you just fix this or this or this or this or this? But I'm gonna make a whole nother video about that because it's not that easy. I've fixed literally everything I could on this truck. Still don't know what's wrong with it. But that's where we're at. We're gonna get there tonight, super late. Tomorrow we drive at 3 p.m. So we gotta drive around Southern California picking up tires. We gotta get some tires mounted, get everything ready as much as we can. And I just want to get a good night's sleep tonight, whatever time we end up getting there. So slow going. Also got the family with us, so. You all right, Adam? All right. You're having about as much fun as I am right now, huh? We're going on our 3rd gallon of water for this trip, maybe 4 gallons. Just feeding this engine. This engine runs on water and used oil. Made it to Las Vegas. Still, it's like the sun's going down and it's still like 100 degrees outside. It's ridiculous. And the breeze is like a blow dryer. Insanity. So we had a little bit of a mishap. On my Ford, on the Cummins, my dipstick doesn't have the O-ring and all the stuff to seal, so it blows a bunch of oil out of the dipstick hole. So I just plugged the dipstick, that's it right there. I plug it with a cap, and I keep my dipstick over here in the fender well. Well, I checked the oil at the last stop and forgot to put the cap back on the dipstick, so it was blowing oil out everywhere while we were driving. I cleaned it up a little bit, but there's kind of some oil everywhere on the bottom of the hood. Well, that made its way down the side of the truck right about there. It starts getting wet. That's all wet oil, and all over Josh Hadlock's trailer. So there's, like, you know, oil. There's definitely oil on there. Sorry, Josh. All I can say is I hope he only knows about that by the video, as in our plan is to get it clean enough that he never knows there was a drop of oil on his trailer. But unfortunately, that's probably not gonna be the end of it. This thing smokes like a train, which wasn't that bad. It wasn't that dirty until I left the dipstick out. But we got about another 4-hour drive, make our way into California. It's probably gonna be just as hot. Maybe not, we're up in the desert here, but we need to get some sleep tonight and be prepared for tomorrow. I really wanna do well in qualifying and have good results tomorrow. So tomorrow night is qualifying, and competition is on Saturday. So I want to make sure the car's good, everything's good, get the tires mounted, relax, and just focus on #1 qualifier.